a program that I'm working on. It is incorporating what we know about how people learn, and it's designed for the millennials. It has a very interactive kind of component to it, and it's with an IES grant, and it's a program designed to teach critical thinking, scientific reasoning skills, using what we know about playing games online, teachable agents. The real brains behind this grant are Keith Millis at Northern Illinois and Art Gracer at University of Memphis, and there's their two brains. And it's called ARIES, for Acquiring Research, Investigative, and Evaluation Skills. We're still early on in the project, so I'm just going to give you a peek of what we're doing. It uses animated agents, avatars. A teacher and a student guides you through it. For example, you might say, my roommate and I got into an argument over who was more influential on hip-hop, James Brown or Stevie Wonder. And the animated agent will come on and say, you know, we could have resolved that problem by using what scientists call an operational definition. And in fact, the idea is to get students to start thinking, how do they, in fact, answer questions like that? We use theories, hypotheses, we talk about independent and dependent variables, drawing appropriate conclusions, and so on. We use science of learning in designing the program. Explanation, generating reasons why a study might be faulty or not faulty. We use reciprocal teaching, because we know that one of the best ways to learn is by teaching. We have spacing effects, we use variable encoding, authentic case studies, motivational engagement. We are borrowing all the principles from serious gaming in the design of this. So this is really a critical thinking program for the millennials. Let me give you just a brief introduction to this program.
The Federal Bureau of Science needs your help. Top secret intelligence indicates that an alien race from a planet in the Aries constellation plans to conquer Earth. Their intergalactic starships are en route and will land soon. The aliens appeared on Earth in 1947, when a few landed in North America. Their presence is thought to be worldwide, perhaps numbering in the thousands. For the most part, they've gone undetected because of their advanced technology, which makes them appear human in all aspects. Luckily, we have valuable intelligence gained from a small number of aliens held in top-secret locations. In preparation for their colonization of Earth, the extraterrestrials have a diabolical plan to subjugate human beings. Aliens have invested in various segments of the global economy. Now, they appear to be brainwashing us until they obtain complete economic dominance. In part, the aliens' brainwashing technique includes the use of advertising to transform us into unthinking consumers, endlessly needing product after product in the hopes of achieving happiness. This self-absorption lulls us into a permanent state of non-thought and endless personal entertainment. Another alien brainwashing technique appears to be the publication of compromised research in a variety of fields, purposely confusing us and thus resigning us to a state of superstition, or worse, total indifference. The aliens enrich themselves while human culture and science waste away. If this continues, they will easily colonize our planet. We, at the Federal Bureau of Science, have launched Operation Aries, a top-secret plan designed to prevent the alien intrusion. It must be kept secret, because mass hysteria will break out if the public knows about the extraterrestrials. We ask you to become a special agent at the FBS. Your mission will be to help identify these aliens. By doing so, we can arrest them, learn more about their technology and plans, and prepare a counter-offensive. There are 4 steps to becoming a special agent. First, you must apply. Second, you will need to know aspects of good research. You will take a special science training course with a fellow trainee. Third, you will be trained to identify possible aliens by evaluating case studies. Fourth, you will go undercover to interrogate potential aliens. Every alien you identify brings us one step closer to saving humankind. Now, it is time for you to begin. Good luck.
Go on to the next slide. Okay. Operation Aries. We have an online game, and your mission is to become an agent of the Federal Bureau of Science, and you're going to hunt down SWAT spies who are on the earth stealing our resources, and they're doing this by publishing faulty research and milking the economy dry by turning us into mindless consumers. Now they're aliens taking over the earth with bad science. Now I think that's something we should all be really scared about. You take a science training course. So in fact, we have a big book of science. It's of course completely interactive and online. There's 24 chapters. And you have an FBS handler who helps you through it. You analyze case studies. These are articles from magazines, the internet, the newspaper, and they're in a variety of topics. They're in psychology, biology, and chemistry. By using content to different domains, we in fact increase the probability of transfer, and you learn to identify flaws in thinking, and you learn to identify what's correct. You interrogate alien scientists, and you determine if someone's a human or a fluff. And of course, if you identify the wrong one, you lose the earth. That's a big loss. So you need to be careful about doing this. This is a sample screen from one of the books. We have what we're calling the Book of Science. And these two animated heads are the avatars. The box on top down here is where you type in responses so that the student is constantly interacting with the book. There's a standard text-like part to this, but each chapter is relatively short, and it's completely interactive. Examples of research that you're asked to evaluate: want to quit smoking, use our subliminal audio tapes. I've been having just a ball writing the bad and good research. And what I would like to do, if I could ever clear IRB, is actually see if I could offer some of these for sale online and see if people honestly will send me money for my subliminal tapes and everything else. But you can imagine there's some ethical issues in that. We use the principles of scientific and critical thinking. Every chapter has different types of questions, definitional, importance, examples. There's a challenge test. And then after they finish that, there's what we call a trialogue. And these are interactive, three-way discussions. For students who have demonstrated a low level of knowledge, they are put into what we call a vicarious learning situation, and this is all based on the science of learning. And in fact, they spend more time watching the animated teacher teach the animated student. Of course, they interact periodically, but they are more passive. The ones who were sort of mid-range, they are involved in standard tutoring, and they are tutored by the computer, by one of the teachers, and it's all using latent semantic analysis, so they type in real natural language, and they are tutored through the material. For those who have done very well, they in fact engage in reciprocal teaching, and what they do is they teach the student agent, and it's based on the ideas that this reinforces and uses existing knowledge. So these are all interactive learning activities that involve explaining and learning, and they are geared for the level of the student. Let me give you just a brief example of one piece of this, where if you've gone through all of this, you are now going to identify someone as either the alien or as the FWAF. Okay, we'll switch programs just a minute. Okay. Whoop. Try this again. Okay, there we go. Here's the interactive program. Enter a name, and let me just pick a name at random. Suppose your name is Jeff. Okay? Hit start. and this is still early in development. This screen with the pills on it, in fact, really will be the report of the research. And this is after you've gone through the training. Okay. So the student, okay. All right, Jeff. And this is a phone on the left. It's a little bit harder to. Yeah, she gets impatient, Jeff. Jeff, you're awfully slow here. So what we have down here, and let me see if I can make the screen fit a little bit better. Okay, this is actually, if you need a hint, for example, these letters along the bottom are categories of questions. So if you click on H, it says you want to ask something about the hypotheses. If you need more help, it clues you on the kinds of questions you might ask about hypotheses. Later on, the hint phone will go away. And depending on the number of questions you ask, all of this, you have a point meter because you're going to be getting points toward in a game-like activity. So let's suppose Jeff asks, what is the hypothesis? And you can do this in natural language. You can misspell words, as you might guess people do. And let's see what it says. Okay, now she's waiting for Jeff, and if Jeff waits too long, she gets aggravated with you and says, I'm waiting for you, Jeff. Thank you. Like I was saying, let's suppose we look over at the sample. S is for sample, and I could get a little bit more. Was it a sample? Was it representative? Was it appropriate? First C is for control. Why don't I ask about control groups? What about control groups? Whoop. Spell it right so I don't. Sounds like there was no control group. Well, are you ready to identify, Professor? Yeah, Jeff, your turn. Yeah, she gets annoyed with you. A little bit like that GPS person when you make a mistake and she gets all hollering at you. So are you ready to make a decision? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So we press on here, and let's say we decide that ZD is really an alien, and then before you make your decision, you indicate what's good about the study, what's not good about the study, what's been known, and then you get the feedback on what is correct. And this goes on in a game environment. Let me get back to where I was. Oh, whoops. Well, I seem to have gotten back to the wrong place on here. I'm sorry. Let me get way down to where we were. Way down, I'm sorry. Okay, let me get to here, and I'll go from here. Okay, this is where we were, and this is the example of a good research or bad research and how that will work. It's an attempt to incorporate AutoTutor. AutoTutor is a computerized tutoring system. We certainly know from the research that tutoring is a highly effective way of getting people to learn. We use the dialogues in AutoTutor. Learning is completely active. It is online. It is game-like. We can use it for several different tasks. We use it for testing. We use what we know about the testing as a way of learning, a way of promoting question asking in the interrogation mode. And many of these are topics that the dean began with as something that we need to be using as a pedagogy for our millennial students. We know that students must be engaged for deep learning to occur, and this indeed engages them. We also have a somewhat standard-looking textbook embedded embedded in this learning package. The chapters are relatively short, but we know that students often don't learn from reading textbooks. They often don't read the book. And what this does is this keeps them engaged in the reading process, because they are constantly being required to give information, to get feedback, and to use that feedback. And in the meantime, they're getting points. And we're trying to use all of the best of what we know from serious games about what actually encourages good learning. We have lots of experiments underway. How do the different domains work? How will psychology mesh with the biology or the chemistry domains, where we have the same skills but different content area as a different way of learning both content and the skills? Does role-playing, the kind of learning tutoring that you're assigned to, is that going to make a difference? So we can actually test out those hypotheses. I mean, initially we're going to put the poorer learners in the vicarious learning condition, but certainly as a research method, we can try putting different types of people into different methods. This allows for much more individualization of learning. Do we have to have the full dialogues? How does this mesh with what's going on in the classroom? How will this in fact be incorporated as a scientific reasoning / critical thinking kind of activity? What you know about the teachable agents important, because we have an agent who's in fact the professor. We have a student agent who's learning along with you. And do the students interact and talk differently when they are dealing with these two different kinds of agents? There's lots and lots of research questions that we are examining with this. Well, in closing,